What's it like to know your native tongue? Because like, despite me being born in my native country, I wasn't there long enough to pick up any of the language, and my parents wouldn't teach me any. I honestly want to say it's a privilege, seriously, because you don't know the amount. You know how people say like, oh, if you're pretty, you get treated better? It's like pretty privilege, right? Because I know my native tongue, I get treated differently. I get treated better from people of that culture. And that's why my friend actually asked me to go dress shopping with her. Honestly, I'm very privileged to be able to have kept my native tongue. And I know that people treat me better because of it. Or at least people of that culture treat me better because of it. They're like so easily impressed, because a lot of other people around me weren't as privileged. And because of that, they just treat me better. I got lucky there, yeah. I've been getting better about calling it Lunar New Year just so I can express respect to other cultures who use it. Yeah. I actually grew up learning, obviously, the word for it in my native tongue, or my parents' native tongue. My native tongue technically is supposed to be English. Supposed to be, but funny enough, this is like a whole other story time. I know, I'm so sorry. Anyways, I learned it like that, and then I learned it Lunar New Year. I rarely ever called it by a specific culture's New Year, but I completely understand because a lot of my friends did call it by a specific culture's New Year, even though there's a lot of cultures who use it, you know what I mean? And that's just to do with the ability to have been taught that way. It's honestly like nothing on, you know what I mean? Before I started going to school, I was completely taught and spoken to and heard my parents' native tongue, right? My parents' native language, because they just spoke to me in their native language. I learned their native language. I was just around people who spoke their native language. I wasn't like around other people who used English. I mean, I know I lived here, but it's not like my parents just like, they didn't drop me off at daycare kind of stuff. I had like a nanny who was also from my culture, so I didn't learn anything else. When I went into school, like after I think the first few weeks or first few months, my teacher had told my parents, hey, you should probably get her eyes, ears checked out. You know, there's something going on. And my mom's like, oh my God, honey, there's something, like she talks to my dad. She's like, honey, there's something going on with our daughter. Like, what's wrong? What's going on? Like, is she okay? She seems fine. I can't figure it out. My dad looks at her and he's like, my girl, she doesn't understand English. She can't read, write, speak, or hear English. There's nothing wrong with her eyes and ears. She simply does not understand the language. All the way up to the age of 6, I was only taught one language, and then being dropped into school, having learned a whole other language. Like obviously if somebody tried to fucking call me in English, I wouldn't respond. Not because I had bad hearing, but because I wasn't being spoken to in the language that I spent my first 5 years of life in. It was really funny. I didn't struggle as much, but the only thing I remember from kindergarten was my very first crush ever, right? And one time I hit my crush and I had to pull my green card to red. My mom was really, really upset, and I definitely got punished. And then hear this, okay? Look at me. This is how you know you can do it. Whatever you're thinking you can't do, you can fucking do it, all right? Because 6-year-old Lily couldn't read, write, speak, or hear English. And yet 8-year-old Lily, okay, despite all odds, the kindergarten teacher was like, hey, you'll be fine, and moved me up to 1st grade. And then I passed 1st grade and moved me up to 2nd grade. In 2nd grade, I was like literally tied for 1st place for my accelerated reading program. Yeah. And then soon after that, I joined, my third grade, I joined the GATE program, which is literally just like a gifted children's program. And that's why I'm burnt out and I became a streamer. So